Before we begin, let's watch together what we're about to create.
Are you okay?
In this video, you'll learn how to create a cinematic AI animation short film from start to finish. We'll turn a simple idea into a storyboard, generate images using AI, animate scenes with Kling, create music and voice using AI tools, and bring everything together in the editing process. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have the full workflow to create your own AI-driven short film. Before we start, leave a like and let's dive in. Before we open any tool, you need one thing first, an idea. AI can generate images, voices, animation, but it cannot replace your imagination.
Imagination!
Not to copy something that already exists, but to build something that belongs to you. Because the strongest stories don't come from tools, they come from humans' experience. Now, let's start shaping the idea.
Let's go!
ChatGPT, I use it to brainstorm ideas, write prompts for different AI models, generate images, and even help write the script for the video. To generate the images for the scene, you don't have to use ChatGPT. You can use any AI image generation platform that you prefer. Before creating multiple images of the same character, you need to make sure the character stays consistent. To do that, we use character sheets. Describe your character to ChatGPT and generate a visual reference. Once you're happy with it, use that reference for every image you create. This is how you maintain visual consistency throughout the story. Now let's generate the scene. Think like a filmmaker, not just generating images, but capturing specific actions and emotions. Create your shots in sequence so the scene naturally flows from one moment to the next. Putting these images in order creates a simple storyboard. This helps us visualize the scene before we animate. First, we see the punch impact, then the exaggerated reaction. After that, Lola gets launched into the wall. Next, we reveal the owl, who was actually the one training her. Then we cut to the hospital scene where Lola is recovering. And finally, the punchline where Lola flips off the owl. Photoshop. Sometimes an image needs color adjustments or a small fix. It's easier to correct it manually in Photoshop than regenerate the whole image. Now I remove the LOL text because I want the joke to be more subtle. Next, I take the serious expression from the first image and keep that as the main face for Lola. This way, she flips off the owl but still looks completely serious, which makes the moment funnier. After that, I make a few simple color adjustments. Just a little contrast, a little saturation to make the image pop more. Now the frame is ready to be used in the animation. For background music, I use a platform called Suno. I usually ask ChatGPT to help me write the prompt, then Suno generates the music. Now let's create the background music for the scene. To do that, I start in ChatGPT. The first thing I do is give ChatGPT a job description. In this case, I tell it to act like a music producer for high-quality movies. Then I describe what is happening in the scene. For example, in this scene, my character gets hit by a powerful punch, so I ask ChatGPT to write a prompt that fits that moment. ChatGPT will generate a few different prompt ideas for the music style. I simply choose the one I like the most. Next, I copy that prompt and go to Suno. Inside Suno, there is a field called Style. This is where you paste the prompt. Then I press Create. Usually Suno generates two different music options. I listen to both, pick the one that fits the scene best, and that's the track I use in the video. Let's listen to them and see which one fits the scene better. What I'm mainly looking for here is the energy of the track. Since this scene has a strong punch impact, the music should feel dramatic and intense. I also want something that builds tension quickly because the moment happens very fast. So I'm listening for the rhythm, the impact, and the overall cinematic feeling. This first one already has a strong hit and a nice build, which works really well for this moment. So this is the one I'm going to use for the scene. This video is sponsored by me. Yes, I couldn't find a sponsor, so I became one. So here's a short commercial about the only product I currently sell. My existence. Let's watch.
Hi, if you don't know me by now, my name is Avi. This is Lola, and that crazy guy over here is Boomer. We've been traveling across America for the past year, chasing adventure in our little home on wheels.
Okay, that was weird. Anyway, back to the tutorial. For voiceovers and sound effects, I use ElevenLabs. I like it because the voices can have emotion and sound less robotic. On the homepage, you'll see a voices section, but we'll skip that since we already have our voice. Instead, go straight to text-to-speech. Here, you'll enter the script you want the character to say. The key part is the bracketed emotion tag. Those are the tones in purple. You can define emotions, tone, or feeling. I often ask ChatGPT to help create these. Once your script and emotion tag are ready, click Generate. You'll get 2 voice options. If you don't like them, hit regenerate until it sounds right. In this example, we're voicing the owl saying, "Are you okay?" with a worried tone. Once you like it, download the final audio.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Always experiment with the emotion brackets. The tone and delivery of the voice are extremely important for the story you want to tell. In the past, this is exactly why films needed voice actors.
Are you okay?
So take your time when you listen to the results. Listen more than once.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Sometimes I even close my eyes and ask myself, does this voice and tone really fit the character? Is this the story I want the audience to feel? When the answer is yes, that's the one you keep. Next, for sound effects, use the sound effects tab. You have a library of categories like boom, impact, or animal, and more. You can search the library for standard sounds. If you need something specific, type it into the search box. For example, I might search super impact of heavy object for the punch. Generate options, listen, and download the one that fits best. If you don't want to use credits, you can search the library instead. Once you have your sound, download it, and you're ready to add it into your project. I also needed a funny bowing sound when Lola flips off the owl. So I just search for the word bowing in the sound library, listen to a few options, and download the one that fits the moment best. This one is perfect. To animate the images, I use Kling 3.0. I used it through a platform called Higgsfield.ai, but any platform that offers the model Kling 3.0 works. At the top bar, you'll see an option called Video. Click that, a window will open, and on the right side, you'll find Kling 3.0. Once you select it, you'll enter the frame-by-frame animation interface. Now that we are inside the Kling 3.0 interface, let me quickly explain the main sections of the workspace. On the left side, we place the start frame. This is the first image of the animation. On the right side, we place the end frame. This is the final moment we want the animation to reach. Kling will generate the motion between these 2 images. Below the frames, we have the prompt section. Here we describe what is happening in the scene so the AI understands the action and motion we want. Enhance improves the prompt. There is also an option to generate sound directly in Kling. While this can be convenient, it uses additional credits. Because I prefer to control my sound design separately, I normally keep this turned off and add the audio later during editing. Elements allows you to control specific objects inside the scene. Next, we have the model selection. Here we choose the generation model. In this case, we are using Kling 3.0. Below that, we have the video settings. We can control the duration of the clip and the resolution. In this example, the clip will be 5 seconds and rendered in 1080p. Finally, at the bottom, we press Generate. Kling will then create the animation based on the frames and prompt we provided. Let's take a look at our results so far. Overall, the animation's coming along nicely, but I've spotted two things we'll tweak. The wall impact happens a bit too close, and we've got an extra tail in there. To fix this, we have two approaches. First, we could use the enhance option to refine the prompt, or we can add a negative prompt to specifically prevent extra tails. Once we adjust, we'll regenerate. Now that we've generated the second version, let's compare the results. The punch impact at the beginning is actually weaker than in the first version, so it doesn't look as strong. However, the moment where she flies into the wall looks much better here, and the impact on the wall feels more natural. In the end, we can combine the best parts from both versions during the editing process. Before we move to editing, I want to generate one more variation. This time, we're going to use the Elements button. The Elements tool allows us to insert additional images between the start and end frames to guide the animation. You can actually add up to 49 images here. To keep things simple for this tutorial, I'm only going to use 3. I'll add the image where her face stretches during the punch impact. The third result didn't fully work, it felt a bit off, but I really liked the moment where the face stretches. So we're just going to take that small stretch segment. Then I repeated the same process for the other shots. I animated the owl laughing, I did the same for the hospital scene, so we've got 6 animations, each generated step by step, just like I showed you. Before we move on, here's a crucial tip on lip syncing. When lip syncing, we want the character's voice and mouth to line up for that natural feel. In Kling 3.0, here's how I do it. In the prompt, I type the exact line like, "Are you okay?" For the owl, I specify it's the owl speaking, so the model animates his mouth, and look at this amazing result. Next, we'll hop into the editing program and put it all together. Finally, I assemble everything in Filmora. You can also use DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro. Any editing software will work. First, we import everything: videos, sound effects, music, voiceovers. I start by working with the video first. I line up the clips like building blocks. I trim exactly where I need, for example, after the punch. Then I align the next video, checking if it flows. I press play to review, and when it works, I move on. I add the third clip, like the face stretch, aligning it with the punch impact. I tweak left or right until it syncs perfectly. To enhance it, I add a glitch effect right when the punch lands. It already looks better. Next, I add a burst effect when she hits the wall, giving more impact. After finding a burst effect I align it and play it again. Finally, I line up audio, adding the punch sound effect and music. And that's our final result. As you can see, AI can generate a lot, but the vision, the emotion, the story still has to come from you. I simply repeated this same process for the rest of the scenes until the film was complete. If this video helped you even a little, leave a comment below. Thank you for being here, and if you want to see how this journey ends, you can watch the full short film on my channel.